Back in Atlanta, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm back in Manassas. I'm Paul Greenberg.
And yeah, we're the CRM players. In case you didn't know that, we are the CRM players. And we're back.
And we are CRM Playaz wherever we are.
And we are always bringing the as, according to our friends at Variant. Or whoever that guy was that announced. Was it Austin that announced?
Austin. We know his name was Austin.
Yeah,
Because that entire company's name was Austin.
It felt like it was.
Yeah.
I remember there was like 8 or 9 guys, and every time somebody started talking, I said, "You're Austin, right?" And they're like, "No."
Right. And no, you were right though. Every time.
Right. Anyway, we are the CRM players. We are back from Texas,
McAllen, Texas.
I actually went to Brownsville too to check out SpaceX. But
what was the city like?
City?
What town?
There are no cities. Wow.
Village dump.
My phone thinks I said Siri. I said city.
Oh
anyway.
my!
No, we didn't really see a whole lot. It was all SpaceX in the airport, basically.
Are they near each other?
About 30-minute drive.
Oh, not that near.
And the funny, well, I don't know if it's funny or what, but we were driving. It was like a 1-lane highway, and every now and again we would have to go through these stops. And I'm like, why are we stopping on there's nothing going on? They were border patrol, and I'm like, there's absolutely nobody here. I mean, there's nothing going on in this particular space. And I'm like, why do they even need border patrol in this part of Texas? Because I didn't see a soul. All I saw was like land and land. That's pretty much it.
Nothing like Greg Abbott. That's all I can say.
Wasn't there a singer in the 80s? His name was Gregory Abbott. He had this one stupid song that everybody kind of liked.
I don't remember it all.
I can't remember him at the moment, but it was anybody out there who's like, old like we are. If you remember who Gregory Abbott was, could you let us know what that song was? Was it Shake You Up or Girl, I Want to Shake You
that one?
Down?
Girl, I want to shake you up. I want to boom you down. That one?
Nah, that ain't it. It is anyway. I'll have to look it up, but it was really annoying. Not quite as annoying as that Rick Astley, or as I like to call him, Rick Ghastly. That never gonna let you down.
Oh, that was the one I was thinking of. It was just horrible. I hate that song.
I do too. I still
Gregory Abbott. I'm looking him up now.
Gregory Abbott. Yeah, you'll find it while you're looking it up.
And it was called "Shake You Down."
I was right. I did say "Shake You Down."
Right.
Wow.
It was a platinum single in the mid '80s, though.
That just means that I wasn't completely successful of burning it out of my memory bank because it was still in the back there.
Very sorry for you.
And I'm sorry because right now I don't see our Momentous Finn. Where is Finn?
I don't know. I mean,
he was on the happy hour last night.
I know, and given how much we pay the guy,
yeah, how dare he not show up for a free gig?
That's right.
You know what? Maybe he's run out of languages. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's like,
we can go to dialects.
It's like oh, there's Rebecca. Yeah, I just Rick rolled. Sorry, I do apologize profusely. I did not mean to bring up Rick Ghastly, but it just came up. And I'm sure Patrick is probably rolling his eyes at me as well. So want to talk a little bit about what happened last week?
Yeah, we probably should.
Go ahead. What were your impressions?
Well, I mean, first, just from the standpoint of the event itself, arguably the best analyst summit / event I've ever been to. Both for the attention paid to the analysts, and keep in mind there were 120 analysts and influencers at this thing, right? Which was amazing. And Sandy and Olivia, well, the whole team, Pooja, I mean, that entire team.
Know who was missing though? I had to check what it's saying. It's like, where's Mickey? Remember, Mickey was there.
Yeah, that's right.
He was on paternity leave because he was having him and his well, I don't know, wife or partner are having their second child.
Congratulations, Mickey.
I love
He's
Mickey is a
awesome.
good
Me
guy.
too.
Yeah,
Actually, who isn't there,
that's true.
right? I mean, Steve Heisler is great too, and Steve was the day-to-day man. So, I mean, the event did everything that an analyst could want in terms of give us all the areas of coverage. Most of it was very transparent. There was one presentation by the chief strategy officer, Vijay Sundaram, that was NDA only, really. But almost everything else was open
Yeah.
there. We got all the details on all the. I mean, it's basically that analyst summit was the equivalent of a watch list submission.
Wow.
That's how I viewed it. Actually, in retrospect, that they answered all the questions I could ask on the watch list, and that meant the company's culture was clear to see, the product and the product strategy and the product roadmaps, the partner strategy, the revenue, the regional perspective, and the size of the company, the marketing strategy, I mean, everything was on view. And the two other things were the surrounding environment, meaning the commitment to local, like showcasing local goods and local services and stuff like that, and the quality of things like the food and the venues and were extraordinary, and the attention paid in general to the analysts, like meeting what, four at a time roughly at the airport with stretch limos, when we were coming into McAllen's airport, and Zoho teams being at the airport with also Zoho signage hanging from the front of the airport. I mean, it was just, the attention to it was absolutely fantastic, and it led to an event that only left an insane amount of goodwill for Zoho. What do you think?
Pretty much the same thing. I
Yeah,
mean, just I'm trying to get over Rebecca's comment saying that Mickey had a baby, which would be really an astounding feat.
that's
I mean,
right.
for Mickey to have done. I'll have to check in on that later. But no, it was a great event, and I particularly thinking about the keynotes, or I guess I'll call them the keynotes, from Shritter, from Vijay, and from Raju. We've heard them each speak numerous occasions at a number of Zoho events in particular. I would say all three of their presentations were the best I've seen them each do individually.
I would absolutely agree with that. And the other thing with them, they are without a doubt the most approachable C level team in the entire industry, bar none. I mean, I still have this incredible impression. I'm walking to the McAllen Convention Center from the hotel, which was, we were at a hotel across the street. And I'm walking to the convention. It's like 8 in the morning, not even. And I get to it, and outside, talking to another analyst, is Vijay, smiling. Vijay's a slight guy. He's not a big guy. He's very slim and small, but the amount of sunshine that radiates from that dude is like light up the entire planet. And he just always, and everywhere you look, Vijay would be talking with this guy, or speaking with these people, or speaking with that young influencer, or speaking with this staff member. But he was, and same with Sridhar and Raju. They're just out there communicating with everybody, and to me, that is incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just a couple of quick things. We did get a chance to record a conversation with Shritter. It's great. We can't wait to get our hands on it so we can put it out and let you guys check it out. But he never fails to always intrigue us, and not only uh teach us things, but he's just an entertaining guy too. And
Yeah,
I really appreciate all aspects of when we get a chance to talk with him. So
yeah.
we had a great show with him. I did a great show with, as you can see, my buddies on the watching privacy side with Raju and Tejas. You know what? I've given Tejas a new name because he was he was one of the main reasons why we were actually down in McAllen, Texas, because he's the guy that's in charge of kind of building up the McAllen practice. And so since Tages is, I call him kind of like, I don't know, the unofficial mayor of McAllen, I started calling him McTages because it's a catchy thing, and it's true. He's the guy down there in McAllen for Zoe. So
And you can see his Scottish heritage just shows.
yeah. So we got CRM Playaz up with Schritter. We've got Watching Privacy up with Raju and McTages. And as soon as we get them, we will put them out there because both were great. It's just always a pleasure talking with them. So all in all, great trip. I my best meal, I'll tell you this real quick. My best meal when I was down there was actually in the Dallas airport, hanging with Brian Summer, eating at Papacitos in the airport. It was great. I love Papacitos. When I was working at PwC and going back and forth between Atlanta and Houston, Houston is like the home base for the Papacitos and Papados and whatever other restaurants the family has. So every couple of days, I'd be right down there in Papacitos getting my fajitas. And I'll tell you right now, they tasted just as good then and now. I mean, it was great.
Amen. Well, I would say only thing I can say is I missed that there was no Voodoo Donuts in McAllen, and there is one in Austin.
Okay. Well, we'll make a note of that. We'll let the people know. All that kind of stuff. All right. Quick thoughts on yesterday's happy hour. It was a full hour and even then some on some really interesting conversations.
Well, I mean, I thought the conversation on Windows versus the Mac was not really supposed.
Well, you were just on the wrong side of that argument.
No, that's the thing. Who gives a crap? I was going to say, I still haven't gone to R-rated vocabulary on our shows yet. Who gives a crap about who uses what? I don't. I know what I use. That's all I care about.
I don't know how I got pulled over. So I don't know. It was like this very kind of insidious way that I went from a Mac person to from a Windows person to a Mac person, because I was Microsoft everything at one point, and then one day I looked in my room, it was nothing but Mac stuff, and as I look at it here, I'm not even gonna say how many Mac products I got or Windows or Apple products I have in here. So it's really insidious. But you know who was really strong on that argument? The venerable Steve Gilmore. My goodness.
Certainly was, boy. I mean, again, and he was saying, well, it only took Apple 3 years to do this and that. And I was thinking, I wasn't thinking, I think I said it. Who cares? I mean, like, who cares how long it took them to talk? We're talking about different operating systems. I mean, I'm looking around. I have, let's see, 2 mobile products. Both are Apple. And the PC that I'm on right now is Windows. And guess what? They all work
fine
together too.
Imagine that,
right?
The last thing I'll say about this is I was so happy that when I brought up Keith Tier talking about how brave Apple was for putting out the Vision Pro, I was so glad that everybody agreed with me and was like, why are they brave? They're not brave for doing it. It doesn't make any sense.
Brave is literally the wrong word for the Vision Pro. I mean, look, it's interesting. It's interesting what they're doing with it. It might very well catch on. They seem to have some pretty strong advocates. I guess we had also, I don't know if we heard it there or somewhere, that there was a lot of recall going on. Not recall. People were returning the units.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. A lot of people. I don't know if that's even meaningful, but
I know why. I told you why. I know. I think that's, I'll just say it real quick. There's so many people who are doing YouTube channels and doing videos, and they want to be the first to review the hottest thing, but they don't want to actually pay for it. Right. So what they do is they'll buy it, do their videos, and ship it back before they have to, before they can't get their money back. There's a lot of that going on, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, stupid, but it makes sense.
But it's all the chase for being, getting views and clicks and all that, and being the first to say, I've got my hands on it, it is.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, in the universe that we also live in, which is the gear, the camera universe and all that stuff, a lot of the vendors just get ahead of that and send it to them, and then people return it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they give it to them, depending on the price. Like it's a $200 item, the vendors tend to give it to the content guys who are reviewing it. But if it's a camera, they lend it to them and then they get it back. And they typically lend them the prototype right before the release, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's smart to do that. I mean, all these guys are trying to be on top of something that's just smart for Apple, not them.
It is. But, the people are going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm gearing up for the digging in the scripts thing, right?
Okay.
I got the teleprompter. I started playing around. Hey, that is, if you are ever in need of a really good teleprompter, Elgato Prompter, that is the one to get. It's not just me. You go and look at the reviews for this sucker. It is really, it's such a cool little device.
I highly recommend this guy, Tom Buck. He's reviewed it when it first started using it, and then he's reviewed it after using it for a while. Still super positive. Part of what he uses now. Figured out the quirks. He's done it all. I mean, it's really good reviews. Tom Buck. You just have to get past his horrible puns.
No, that's okay. I like a good pun. Anyway, so digging in a couple of scripts that came out this
customers.
That's not the one I was digging into. Let's do this. All right. So I don't know if you saw this, but HubSpot and Pega came out with their earnings reports over the last couple of days. They really both crushed it. Matter of fact, I think I told you, if you look at what Pega's stock is doing today, last time I saw it was up 32%.
Wow.
From the close of yesterday, because they announced they killed their earnings. HubSpot did the same, and I think they were up like not that much, not as much, but like 10-15% or something like that.
That's still amazing.
Still amazing. So I went digging into some of the transcripts and the presentations. And so, first of all, I got to commend HubSpot. Their slide presentations look, you would figure they would look great. They really look great. And so, a couple of slides here. Remember at the end of last year, I did a conversation with Dharmesh Shah, who's Chief Technology Officer and co-founder. We've known him forever. One of the things he emphasized over and over again during that conversation was how they remain committed to the SMB space. And we always talk about all these companies, they try to break their neck heading upstream and, trying to compete for those big deals. And it's the competition is ridiculous up there. And HubSpot and companies like Zoho and HubSpot and a few others have said, we're very fine staying right in the SMB market. So right off the bat, they talk about their focus is continually on the SMB market. And then they talk about how underserved the market is. And here's the big takeaway from that. So their TAM, which is SMB focused, look how big it is.
Holy God.
And he even talked about, look, our penetration rate is still in the single digits, but look at that total addressable market for the SMB category, 77 billion by 2028. So there is just tons and tons of room. And the last thing, I'm tying things together. So I'm gonna actually do this. So in the transcript, and this is even the transcript
again, PDF.
No, but this was a picture. It wasn't even a slide. I don't know why that got messed up, but look at the total number of net new customers just from last quarter. 11,000 net new customers in the last quarter. I mean, they're killing it, and I think their quarterly revenue was 500 and some odd mil. So they're on a tear to go up to 2 billion, hit that $2 billion mark. So they are really killing it.
I'm glad for
them here. HubSpot Chief Customer. Sure, he had. Yeah,
Michael. You're probably
right.
Yeah, 100%.
That would make sense. Adobe and HubSpot. Yeah, you would think really good looking slides.
Yeah.
All right. So that's part one of my digging into scripts. Here's the second one. So I dug in a little bit to Pega. Once again, they announced like killer numbers. That's why they're up 32%. Look at this slide here. Look at what they were doing in Q4 2017 and look where they are now. What a 9x growth in
Yeah.
6 years?
Yeah.
I mean, that is crazy growth.
That's, it's the same thing, even higher, bigger level.
Right now.
Service now.
Right now.
1 billion, less than $1 billion then, to 9 billion now, almost 10.
And look at what they say their total addressable market opportunity is.
Damn.
So all this to say, the CRM space, it's just growing and growing and growing. And there is room for everybody if they come with the right product, the right platform, the right strategy. There's no reason why you can't make some money in this market.
No, I mean, look, the irony of all of this is, you still hear, even to this day, look, CRM may be boring, but it's not dead, right? It's not even close to dead. If you looked at the HubSpot numbers, I went and looked at the footnote while we were doing it. They're saying it's for the Sales Hub, Marketing Hub, and Service Hub, meaning CRM, right? So, right. So basically, both of them are talking about CRM markets with also, in the case of, I think, of Pega, even more than HubSpot, value adds kind of thing. So extending it to engagement, doing some things like that, as opposed to just a unique, separate market other than CRM. And the market opportunity is huge. And a lot of it, to your earlier point, is in the mid-market. I mean, the mid-market is wide open still. It's tricky because the bottom of the mid-market and top of the mid-market are not that similar, but it's available. And, I think people want to go to the enterprise because they think it's where you're supposed to go. And
I think their investors also push them.
Yeah, well, it's a waste. Look, ultimately, I don't want to say the fight there is over. It's not, because ServiceNow is proof it's not. It wasn't, and it is. They started enterprise. There's a lot of companies that have scalable, meaning they could scale perfectly well to the enterprise, technically.
Right.
But the company doesn't know how to deal with the enterprise, and that's a whole other thing. It's cultural, it's sales, it's marketing, it's service, it's all the things. It's how the back offices function. It's if they're a product company, it's a manufacturing process. There's everything is different when you get there, and it's also regulatorily different. And so, don't, just because you want to doesn't mean you should. Okay, so kudos to HubSpot. Pega serves some enterprise and a lot of the upper end of the mid-market. I'm sure Alan would say they serve all the enterprise and everything down to small business, but they serve upper mid-market into the enterprise. That's kind of their sweetest spot. And again, they have some downstream and not a whole lot upstream beyond that, but their markets, look, folks, plenty of room.
And guess what? There's plenty of room for.
I don't know.
And now it's time for
Stump
the Godfather with the venerable Paul Greenberg.
Oh, I'm getting my laryngitis.
Dynamics 365 Copilot.
Gonna let Benny ride out. All right, Benny's gone, and we're ready for this week's Stump the Godfather, brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot. I just like saying that. Anyway. Early estimates for total ad revenues I left out a couple of words, for the Super Bowl.
Oh, that would be important.
Early estimates I'm blaming this on the Midas of MarTech, our own Anand Thakur, because he's the one that shot me this. And I just noticed I did a cut and paste and he didn't even put the number. Well, it was a bullet point under Super Bowl. Anyway, so this is for the Super Bowl, which was, I believe, 124 million people watched the Super Bowl. It was the most watched thing since apparently since the lunar landing in 1969, something like that. That's a long time, man. That's a really long time. So, early estimates for total ad revenue for this year's Super Bowl is over blank, blank, blank million.
All right.
So, everybody, get your guesses in. Rebecca, make sure Patrick gets his guess in as well. But what are the early estimates of the total revenue in terms of ad spend? I guess what CBS must have made a killing. So, what was the total number that they made on ad revenue for this year's Super Bowl? The most watched, I think, single thing ever for the most part.
Let's see.
And our guest is in the green room. So, if she has a guess, put it in the private chat or
Her comment.
if she has a question first. Do the sales of the Dunk Kings tracksuits count? And I have to admit, I don't know. I don't think so. But just say no. And if you do have a guess, put it in the private chat. We'll let everybody know what your guess is. And anybody who wants to get a guess in, Michael Klein, Rebecca, Patrick, Sven, put a guess in. Let's see how good you are, how close you get. And don't be looking on the internet or asking ChatGPT. So, anyway.
Can we ask Microsoft Copilot? They are a sponsor.
How up to date is this stuff? They're not pulling from like
no, Copilot is up to date.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Right. It's I think they based it on ChatGPT 4 point something or another. So they're up to date.
All right. Well, we're not getting any takers on this one unless people are like trying to play like they're thinking when they're really typing and asking.
Yeah, I've got a guess, but I don't know how accurate it is. I'm guessing based on 3-hour game. Oh, wait a minute. That counts pregame too. Shoot. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, that was like a 4-hour pregame or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, Michael Klein is coming in at 700 million.
Okay, so let me do some math here. 20 minutes, 7 hours, 140 minutes, 7. No,
oh, look at Sven coming in at 394. I mean, very specific there, Sven. That's 394. Okay, so we got 394 and we got 700. I don't see any guesses from the green room yet. I don't know.
I got a number.
Did you get the abacus out or something, or is that what's going on here?
I got one.
Oh, okay. Are you going to wait?
Yeah, I'm waiting for close out the externals.
All right, we got one more in here.
Yeah, I mean Michael's. I was operating more on minutes, but I think Michael's close.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
I think he's close.
All right, we're going once on the answers. Get your answers in or your guesses in. Going twice. All right, going, gone. All right, so what's your guess?
625.
625. Mm-hmm. All right, so we've got 394. We've got 625. We got 700. Is that your final answer? I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, the answer is Michael was close.
Oh.
He was close, but he was over.
Well, I'm 625.
You were even, you were really
and
on
sadly, that was my original guess was 650, but I went down on it.
Well, we'll never know since you didn't say anything.
Well, because I was doing math of 15 to 20 minutes of ads per hour, 7 hours, but some of them were shorter ads. Some of them were shorter, like during the game was less than that. And before the game was around that. So that's where 625 came up.
Well, that's a great guess. That's a really great guess. Cool. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, you lost. You were a little over, but I mean, PG was actually very close, very close. And I have to say, I'm a little disappointed that our guest in the green room, who is a chief marketing officer, did not participate. We'll ask her about that after we bring her on. But this was this week's Stump the Godfather question, and the Godfather got it right. You got the win on that one. So
Been a while, man. I needed that win.
all right, and that was brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics 365 Copilot.
I'm hoping my win will reverse the Knicks losing streak.
Oh, okay. Well, in the meantime, I turn things over to the Venerable Paul Greenberg for the introduction of today's guest.
Okay, so you already have, our guest already. I mean, we have had her on when she was CMO Pros. We've had her on when in multiple occasions when she was CMO at Verint. She is now CMO of isolved, Celia Fleischaker. Look, not only one of the best CMOs I know, but one that has made a point of constantly learning how to do something new and different. So, for example, she nails operations. So she says, you know what? Let me go out on stage more. So she goes out on stage more. She nails that. And every person who's ever probably reported to her, and I can't say I know everyone, but I know a lot of them actually. I don't know her. No, because I don't know any of them who reported to her when she was at Epicor, right? So has loved her completely, and I do too, of course. She's just an extraordinary person. Besides, and let's just say this: I love where she and her husband live, and I'm not saying where that is, but that's another big plus to me. She's really a remarkable CMO and just a wonderful person. And let us bring on Celia Fleischaker.
Well, before we do that, I want to add one thing to this.
Oh, of course. Look at
that. That is the best picture
I
know. I mean, I've been doing these things for years now. That is probably the best picture that I ever had to work with for a promo for the CRM Playaz. So
I mean, you could literally say glam shot on that one, man.
It really
is. It really is. It's fantastic.
So, with that in mind, now we can bring her on.
Yes,
I feel like it's such a letdown after the headshot. The live action is not gonna.
Oh, come on. But that headshot is great. I got to tell you.
Really shout out this woman Han that did it for me here in New York, and she specializes in female execs over 40, right? Like,
wow.
And she's really just wonderful. But yeah,
that was amazing. It's a great. It really
is with the wind blowing too.
I mean, hey, there may have been a fan involved.
Well, thank you for joining us for the first time in this new role that you're in.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was so excited to get the request, and it's good to be here. I miss speaking with you all.
So, how do you like it first?
Yeah, I mean, I love it, and it's a few different reasons. And one, I've loved every team. You talked about my teams and how they feel about me. I feel the same way about them. I've had amazing teams in every organization. isolved is no different. It's fun. It's a little bit of being back with the band with James here and Mark Duffel, which has been great. And it's such a cool space, right? Like, I just love HCM. I've never worked in it. You always are talking about learning something new for me. HCM is new, but I feel like I've been around it my whole life. And I also feel very fortunate to, I've worked with amazing HR leaders, Nikki and Jane at Verint, and then here we've got Amy Mosher, and it's been so cool. Jig Grooms at Epicor, it's been awesome. So I've been having a lot of fun drinking from the fire hose, but it's been great. I've been here since October.
Well, I mean, you got it's funny how it just converted. You got Amber Dressler's there. You got Jeff Webb. You got James Norwood. I mean, it's like, I mean, I know all of you from completely different places, basically. Right.
It's fun, right? Like, it's always cool. Like you go somewhere and people are always like, are you going to steal people from your past or whatever? And I think just B2B is small and there's a lot of convergence. And and you end up crossing paths again with great people. And Amberly, I've never had the opportunity to work with, but it's been so much fun.
By the way, she's the one saying what a trio.
Oh, that is Amberly.
That is her. I had to go and
Oh.
check.
Okay,
That's funny. Yeah, she's awesome.
she is. I mean, she's one of the best at her craft. She really is.
So what attracted you? Because this is a new industry, right? A new area for you. What attracted you to try this one?
I think, the last few years we've seen like the importance of employee experience and working with people, the importance of, passion for me, DE&I, like all of these things converging and becoming more and more important to organizations. And so when I spoke with James about the opportunity, and I was like, oh my God, I get to work with people I love, which is always a bonus. And then get to work in a new space that has, in my mind, such an impact, especially with isolved, right? We have nearly 170,000 companies that use our services and solutions, and it's about 7 million employees across the US. So it's a significant chunk of SMB. And to know that you could be improving their experience at work I was really excited.
Well, my brother's one of your customers.
I love that. I hope he's really happy.
Well, he seems to be. I mean, I asked him about it actually because I got I think he was hiring somebody or something, and he posted a note on LinkedIn, and there was an isolved suffix there, and I thought, huh. So I texted him and said, "You're an isolved customer?" He said, "How do you know that?" And I told him. I said, "What do you think?" He said, "We're pretty happy with it right now." Right. So, and my brother does not suffer software company as easily.
I can see that. No, well, if he's ever not happy, definitely have him call and we'll take care of him.
Okay, you got a deal. So, I mean, I don't look. To be honest, I hate the term HCM. I literally can't stand it because human capital management. I just don't think of human beings that way. Yeah, cold is the right word, and so I'll call it HR if you don't mind. So, tell us about the actual technology a little bit because and you actually brought up employee engagement, and I think that would be important for people to hear how that all works from a technology standpoint because I'm a little familiar with the area, but not that much.
Yeah. So, if you think about everything that HR groups have typically done, and in that life cycle, the employee, it's a full platform. I solve People Cloud in the cloud that helps you from the time you're recruiting and onboarding all the way through that life cycle. And they did a lot. They've been on the experience bandwagon for years, right? So it's not something that just came about in the last couple of months. They've really focused in on not just transactionally taking care of that employee, but what does that UI look like? It's very consumerish, very easy to use because when I started using it when I was onboarding and getting recruited and interacting with it is very simple. So it's a really great tool because you want adoption really high of these solutions. The tech is good. It's another area where AI is having a big impact on how people work with systems and what they can do with it. It's an area that always is loaded with controversy too when people talk about AI and their employees. But it's great. It's been very good, and it's surrounded by services that help employees as well.
So, what would be the services that you would provide?
So we'll do all the tech pieces, but maybe someone needs help with HR, like completing a lot of we deal in SMB, and a lot of times you have an HR leader that also might be an office manager, or they're just strapped for time. And so there's a whole team that can help them if they want to outsource some of their HR services, if they want to help them with benefits administration, COBRA after they've left. All of that gets wrapped around the tech too.
Wow.
Yeah. That's nice.
That's sophisticated too.
How do you see all these technologies? Because right now, I guess when you think about generative, at least in our world, it's on the customer service kind of, and the impact it could have on contact center and the agents and how if you make them better.
I can talk a little bit about that too.
Okay, well, yeah. What can you not talk about?
Oh, that one's fresh.
But how do you see, some of these generative technologies not only improving, the customer experience or the contact center experience, but the overall employee experience? Maybe folks that are not directly connected but are relevant to creating a good experience for a customer.
So one of the I was talking about how busy HR is, and they typically wear all these hats. When it's the reports where we did some research, we found that HR execs, professionals were spending 4 to 8 hours of their day administrative, like answering questions, helping out employees, and so conversational virtual assistant comes in, and so enable them to self-serve, get the answers they need when they want it, that kind of thing. That's where some Gen AI can come in. Thankfully, we're in an environment now where a lot of people are hiring, so writing those job descriptions, getting that done. There's a lot of ways that especially generative AI can help people be more productive and aid in productivity, and also aid in the experience, because it's typically, if you go to HR, it's a pressing question, right? Like, it's usually time sensitive, and to be able to self-serve or have that answer even faster makes all the difference to an employee.
How do you approach one facet in particular, which was the recruiting part? Because I aside from the fact I can't stand Indeed commercials, right? I mean, I cannot. They're obnoxious. They seem to have some traction in the small business world, at least in terms of just on the recruitment piece. You provide a lot more, among those things being recruitment. So one, how do you do that in terms of how do you provide recruitment tied to the other things? And secondly, how do you position that? Because Indeed will compete on a micro level with part of what you do, I imagine.
I mean, that's where the platform comes into play, and we do partner with them too, but being able to help control that relationship, or manage is a better word, that relationship from the time someone applies through onboarding all the way through becoming an employee. Like, having a common data model and all those things lends itself to a better experience and continuity, and so it's a big space with a lot of people in it. It's crowded in some respects, but we're able to compete. We offer a very comprehensive solution that's easy to use, that works really well across the life cycle, not just in one key piece.
Go ahead. You got to follow up?
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of. So, and that brings to mind the other aspect, which is, let's say HCM, HR is much more regulated than, say, CRM is, right? And the regulations are constantly changing. I mean, it's like daily almost. How do you obviously have to build in compliance to everything you're doing. How do you do that given the continuous change that's going on with that?
That's it. And it's not just like, it's coming out at every level, right? There are compliance measures coming out in cities and states and across the country. Yep. And we're largely US, so we're not even dealing with the complications beyond that. But when we look at it, we've got a lot of expertise there built up in compliance. We're making sure we're on top of it. And that's a lot of clients use us from a compliance perspective to make sure they're on top of it, because as a small business, it's almost impossible to keep up with. Right. And that's where you see a lot of the services around it. I kind of like being it's interesting to be in a market where compliance is so important, and it's it only contributes to the need for the solution.
So this is I don't know if this is in your wheelhouse or not. It's just something I've been thinking about. We were just before we brought you on, we were going over some of the earnings stuff with some of the companies in our space, and they're killing it. And it's just not Pega and HubSpot, but we've seen great reports basically this whole quarter of profits soaring, and then You know, customer acquisition going up at a very healthy clip. But then you juxtapose that with people getting laid off, you know, like they call it the pruning, or and part of it is some of these companies are saying like they're restructuring and repositioning to take advantage of this huge Gen AI opportunity they're seeing. And so as they shift the direction of the company, the skill sets and the experience requirements are shifting as well. So even though they're killing it, they're letting people go that aren't in position to be a part of that. Are your customers coming to you and saying, how do we deal with this?
I think, and that I'm not going to say I'm the expert in this area, definitely, but it's, I mean, a couple comments and reaction. I think it is hard as the end employee to see these results come out and the company crushing it, and then to not have a job, right? Like, I think that is hard to rationalize. I like agree with you and the mindset. I think a lot of the companies we see doing that, I might be generalizing, tend to be larger organizations. They're heavy in tech and managing these shifts. I'll say a lot of who we're working with, it's quick serve restaurants, it's smaller professional organizations, small manufacturers, kind of the backbone of a lot of the job market, who probably aren't as impacted or impacted in the same way that some of those larger orgs where we're hearing about those layoffs. So I think it's different for them. But I also think at the same time, it's the questions, the uncertainty, the retraining needs are still there, even in those small organizations. And I think what we come across a lot in conversations is there's still a mystique or questioning around some of the tech like AI and what it means for an organization longer term.
So, given that, how do you, how does isolved think about, and this is going to sound a little odd, its roadmap, given the fact that the impact's a little different, but the impact is still globally there. And you're, CMO, so you have to allow for the messaging the messaging has to allow for the fact that even if it's not impacting your immediate customer base, it has to be acknowledged, right, in some way, right, in order to allay fear or something or whatever it may be. How do you think about that?
I think that's our responsibility as a partner in a lot of ways, is as we are a little bit bigger, we are in the forefront of tech. We do see what's coming and what organizations need to be thinking about. So being a good partner to those small and mid-sized businesses is helping them know what's coming down the pike and how to best orientate their business toward it, or take advantage of, know what they need to know. And I really do feel like, especially in HR and dealing with people and tech, helping them understand what they need to be thinking about is the job of a good partner. So it's different because they may not have the expertise we have, but as a tech company and as their partner, we need to be looking 3 steps ahead, and then making sure we can take them one step at a time.
What kind of pulse are you getting from your customers? What are they feeling good about the economy? I mean, we talked a little about some of the highlights, but has it trickled down to them personally feeling about their businesses, or what are the things that you are hearing? The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever.
I think in general, we're hearing a lot of positive, and I'll say kind of I think, though, coming into the year, the uncertainty, and I know we're not going to talk in depth about, there's a lot of uncertainty around the impact of the election and what the election year is going to bring, and knowing what that might mean for the economy. But right now, I think people feel good. We're hearing a lot of positive news, and people are optimistic. But I think just hanging in the background is what happens in the fall.
All right, so how big is, as much as you can say, how big is isolved?
Yeah, we've got a run rate of around 500 million.
Wow.
Profitable.
That's
Yeah.
really big.
Growing well. Yeah, I know. It's yeah, it's good size. It's a nice, fun size. Sorry.
Well, it's okay.
I think he agrees with you. He says
right.
it is a nice size.
Yeah.
That's right. He said, "Yeah,
Apparently.
mom."
Now
Yes,
you can
Mom.
say where I am, right? Because
Well, you
We're
actually said it right earlier on. You said New York. Literally used the
yeah,
word.
yeah.
Can't argue with that, man. The best place in the world to live.
It's been fun. It's very fun. We could talk all the time about it. Yeah.
Are you used to the city now?
My dog is not used to the city. Sorry. But he has lost weight here. He's down to 110, so we're proud of him.
Down to 110. Holy cow.
So I love it. It's been really fun. It's so different, right? I grew up on a farm in Kentucky. So and coming here was just like, hey, we're empty nesters. What do we want to do? So I love the subway. I just love everything about it.
Wow.
It's so fun.
You're the
I never
first
thought I'd hear that.
You won't be either.
Kidding. My husband makes so much fun of me because we'll be riding on. He's like, stop the smiling.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice, by the way. Okay.
Loves the subway.
I think I've never lived anywhere that had such like great public transportation.
Well,
I think
that
it's
it does.
amazing.
You can get anywhere in New York, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing is the dynamic of the city itself is just the energy level is just phenomenal at all hours of day and night.
Yeah, exactly. It's very different from anywhere we've been. I mean, we won't be here forever, but it's so fun right now.
Did you have one last question? Have you gotten to any Broadway shows yet?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have to slow down on that, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been so much fun. We love it. Like we've seen several and just enjoying it. And
Well, okay, I have to ask then. I do have to ask this. What's your favorite show that you've seen?
oh, I mean, they're so different. We saw Some Like It Hot, which was super fun. Like it was really, really great. We saw Appropriate with Sarah Paulson, which was amazing. Like
They've just extended Appropriate too.
Yeah, it was great.
Sounds like it's appropriate to do that.
Have you seen 6?
Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
How'd you like it?
I liked it okay. It wasn't my favorite, but it was very fun. Like it was, I felt like I was at a concert kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
Michael Klein is saying you need to follow Subway.
I know. I just saw that. I will do that. I'm worried that will make me not like it. I don't know. I don't want to destroy it. Like it's good for me right now.
Okay, I you know what? I still have another New York question. Right, I hate to do this, but your favorite restaurant so far?
Oh my gosh, that's hard. We did make it to
Daniel.
Yeah, just before the holidays. That was our big treat for the holidays, and it was freaking amazing.
Yeah, you did.
You know what? There's this Mexican place like a couple blocks down, and it's just we love it. It's in the neighborhood. We can walk right down the street and grab a margarita. And it's just great. Like we try to try something different all the time. It's been fun.
The good news is you'll be busy forever.
Right. There's no shortage.
No. All right, I'll leave New York questions alone. Otherwise, we could literally finish the show with it.
Yeah. Well, I hate to break out of the New York frame of mind or state.
So
of
do
mind.
I.
So your previous employer was Verint, and at the end of last year, I attended their analyst event and had a chance to talk. They were talking about something they call their flex timer. Is it time flex bot? But it was all around the idea kind of the Uberization of the contact center, where they allow these technologies to be used and let the agents kind of do what Uber drivers do. Like they are able to kind of bid on, I want to work this hour, I work this project. And one of the things it kind of does is it allows them to work more the way their life is, but it also still allows for contact centers to make sure that they're covered and get the ability for their customers to call in and get stuff done. I was like, man, that's such a cool idea. Using, because it works pretty well with Uber. I mean, I don't think I've ever gotten an Uber rider twice. And I don't really look for getting the same person. I just use the app and somebody shows up and takes me somewhere and I'm good.
Right.
And they're good. Do you see that as something that might trickle into some of the things that you're working on or your customers are working on maybe?
And shout out to the bots who I saw the Valentine's Day stuff from the bots and it made me laugh so hard.
I got to tell you, you're the first one who ever said shout out to the bots on this show. So I just
well, Dave Singer should be given a hard time given that. But yeah, I don't know. And the reason I say that is I think we would support that from an employer to employee perspective. Like we would support that, but I don't know that you'd ever Uberize HR. Like I just think what we talked about earlier with compliance and what those people are dealing with. I don't know if you could take it to the degree you have the flexibility to in a contact center. I think it'd be different, but I think we could support it from an employment perspective.
So basically give the employees the options, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Which I think more and more like the flexibility side is coming out. People want, different things.
How do you deal with that within the technology though? I mean, not the bot side of it really, more the constant, okay, well, employees now are looking to want this, keep them happy. They want this to keep them happy. They want this to keep them happy. How is your platform? I'm presuming your platform is flexible enough to incorporate all of those kind of shifts and changes and so on, aside from compliance issues. I mean, just okay, HR now has to track this and this and this. They have to provide this and this and this. Now that the employees want this and this and this. And 6 months later, that
opportunity. No, I mean, I think it's that HR has gone from payroll to benefits to now we've got like giving and volunteering and share and perform. Like it keeps growing because there's more to do to serve the employee, which is a good thing in our mind. Yeah,
well, you're in. I remember. When customer engagement was huge and then employee engagement started showing up and then people made all the stupid links between them, like happy employee equals happy customer, which is literally not true.
You and Esteban hate that.
No, because it's somebody being super lazy, right? That's all. I said, no, what my explanation was always, happy employee plus bad technology equals miserable customer. Right, who might not yell at the employee because the employee is happy, but will still leave the company forever.
I jokingly said to Brent last night, if you guys want to talk about EX and CX together, happy to do that. I thought it might come up.
Oh, don't worry.
We'll make sure Esteban joins us for that. Then,
it's just forget. But that said, employee engagement itself really started to take off, and then now it's how to put it? It's just it's a regular part of the conversation, so to speak. It's not like exceptional. It's not outlier. It is.
Of course, right? Exactly. Which is great.
Yeah, which definitely helps what you're doing. And again, you've got such a group of progressive thinking people there, at least the ones I know, right? So, which is really so impressive. I was just like, I couldn't get over the four of you in that same place. I actually remember when Jeff left Pros to go there. And I remember when Amberly was Optimizely, I think, right? And
she was
Optimizely went to there. You, of course, Verint, but you were at Pros, I think, when Jeff left, right? Were you there?
No, I wasn't
there. Right now. Okay, you were already gone by then. And of course, James shows up everywhere. James just kind of shows up.
Thank goodness, right? Like...
I know. Yeah, so
amazing. before we let you go, I think you mentioned last night that you guys had just or just about to release or just released some study or some research information or something like that.
Oh yeah, we just released our HR trends for 2024, and there was a lot of good stuff in there. It's available on the website. A lot of information about, you know, sadly, burnout is high among employees. It was 65% said they'd
Wow.
experienced.
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, and but it's interesting. A lot of people talk about culture improvement in the study and some of the results, and this was the first year that when people were asked about, well, what do we do to improve things? eh, Pay was not number one. It was actually internal communication. It's a better
Wow.
transparency and internal
Whoa.
communication, which I think is such a switch from
I would
what
say
it,
so.
yeah. And so really some interesting things came through, and it was nice. Good
Okay,
stuff.
so one final question, since we don't have to ask you the question anymore. Right. Well, the final question is, and there's no consequence to this one. What was your favorite Super Bowl commercial?
Oh, you know it from my question. I'm
I
kind
thought
of
so.
upset, and I feel bad because it's Tom Brady, and I know that that's probably not a good thing.
Well, it's been nice seeing you again, Celia.
And I think the Dunking thing was super funny. Like,
Well, and to me, to be honest, I think it was because of Matt Damon, who was absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, that was funny.
delivery was, I'm
Unbelievable.
sorry, like it was just great.
I
It
agree.
was.
Now, I think Brent and I, though, we are in agreement what we thought was the best one.
What was it?
Brent,
Christopher Walken,
Yep.
Oh yeah.
where everybody was imitating
to-
him as he went along his daily life.
Yes.
That was so funny.
I
And
know.
of course, his expressions are what really
Well,
get you.
He's him, man. That guy is
True.
unique and amazing and brilliant, and always will be.
And
So,
so will Celia. She will always be.
well, we know that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's a lot younger than Christopher Walken.
It's a couple years.
And he doesn't have
No.
the promo picture that she did.
No, he doesn't have enough hair to blow in the wind.
And on that note,
Here we go, wrapping up on that.
well, Celia, as always, it's a pleasure whenever you have time to join us. We just appreciate spending some time with you. So it's been great.
And you are now our resident HR expert. So
I don't know. Thank you all for having me.
All right. And on behalf of Celia, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players. And oh, yeah, this. Now we can say goodbye. Goodbye.
See ya.